At the north pole of Saturn, there is a hexagon, 6 straight sides, 6 sharp corners, 30,000 kilometers across. Nobody built it, and it has been turning there for more than 40 years. This is Cosmion. Point it at any question in the universe, and it will show you the answer, whether you can bear it or not. Today, Saturn's 6-sided storm, what Cassini measured inside it, and why a shape like that should not last. Weather does not usually do this. On Earth, a jet stream is a river of very fast air high in the atmosphere. It wanders, it bends, it loops, and it never draws the same line twice. Now look down on the north pole of Saturn. The fast air there is bent into 6 straight lines, joined at 6 corners. It is not a diagram. It is not an artist's impression. It is a photograph. The pictures in this film were taken by a spacecraft called Cassini, which spent 13 years in orbit around Saturn. And the shape was not a recent surprise. We have known it was there since 1980. It helps to know what we are standing on the edge of here. Saturn is 9 times wider than the Earth. It sits about 1.4 billion kilometers from the Sun, far enough that sunlight takes 80 minutes to arrive. It is also barely there for something so large. Saturn is the only planet in the solar system whose average density is lower than water. There is nothing underneath those clouds to stand on. In 1980 and 1981, 2 Voyager spacecraft flew past Saturn on their way out of the solar system. They looked at the North Pole and saw something with a straight edge. A straight edge, in weather, is wrong. Air does not travel in straight lines for thousands of kilometers. It is pushed around by everything it passes, but the Voyagers could not photograph the whole thing. Their paths took them past the side of the planet, not over the top. So they caught a corner and a hint of another one, and then they were gone. For the next 25 years, the most geometric object in the solar system existed as a partial photograph and an argument. Cassini changed that. It arrived at Saturn in 2004 and stayed until 2017. And it immediately ran into a problem. The northern half of the planet was in winter, and the North Pole was in complete darkness. There was nothing to photograph because there was no light falling on it. Waiting was not a small thing. Saturn takes about 29 Earth years to go once around the Sun. One of its seasons lasts more than 7 of our years. Saturn has seasons for the same reason we do. Its axis is tilted by about 27 degrees, which is not far off Earth's tilt. The difference is only how long each season is made to last. The pole was not going to light up because a spacecraft had turned up and wanted a photograph. So in 2006, the team tried something else. Cassini carried an instrument that reads infrared, which is heat rather than visible light, and Saturn is warm inside. That warmth leaks upward through the clouds from below. Against that glow, the hexagon shows up as a dark outline. It is worth stopping on that. They photographed a shape at the pole of a planet in total darkness, using the planet's own heat as the lamp behind it. And this time the shape was complete. 6 sides all the way round, closed. Not a fragment and not an edge caught in passing. In August 2009, Saturn reached equinox. Sunlight came back to the north, and Cassini's ordinary cameras could finally see the pole in visible light. In late 2012, the spacecraft began flying over the poles rather than around the middle of the planet. On the 10th of December that year, it took 8 photographs over 10 hours. Played in order, those frames show the hexagon turning, not drifting apart, not losing a corner, turning and staying itself. So what is it, physically? It is a jet stream, a band of wind moving much faster than the air on either side of it. The band is about 30,000 kilometers across. That is more than twice the width of the Earth. You could drop our entire planet into it, twice, and still have room around the edges. The wind in that band runs at about 500 kilometers per hour. A powerful hurricane here manages roughly a third of that, and it looks like a mess from orbit. Sitting exactly on the pole, in the middle of the 6 sides, there is something else, a vortex. From above, it looks like a hurricane, complete with an eye at the center. That eye is about 50 times larger than the eye of a typical hurricane on Earth. Its strongest winds are about double the strongest winds in any cyclone on this planet. Kevin Baines, a planetary scientist at NASA's Jet Propulsion Laboratory, called it the belly button of Saturn. He was careful about the word hurricane, though. A hurricane on Earth feeds on warm water at the surface. Saturn has no surface and no ocean to feed it. Whatever drives this thing, it is not what drives our storms. Inside the 6 sides, there are smaller storms too, showing up as reddish ovals in the sharpest images. Some of them turn clockwise while the hexagon and the central vortex turn the other way. So here is the obvious question. Why does Saturn get a clean geometric shape when Earth only ever gets chaos? The honest answer is that Earth is the awkward case here, not Saturn. Start with sunlight. Earth sits nearly 10 times closer to the sun, so we receive nearly 100 times more of it. That energy swings hard between day and night, and it keeps stirring our air. Then there is the ground underneath. Earth has ocean, rock, ice, and snow, and each of them heats and cools at a different rate. Air crossing them is pushed and pulled the whole way round. And we have mountains. A jet stream running into a mountain range gets shoved sideways. NASA describes it the way water breaks up as it passes over large stones in a shallow creek. Saturn has none of that. No ocean, no rock, no ice sheet, no mountain range. As a gas giant, it does not have a true surface at all. It is a deep, even atmosphere, and it is spinning quickly. A day on Saturn lasts 10.7 hours. Under those conditions, there is apparently nothing to stop a jet stream settling into a regular shape. That is not just an argument on paper. Scientists have built one. A cylindrical tank of water sitting on a slowly turning table produced a hexagon in a laboratory here on Earth. It produced other shapes as well, depending on the settings. So the shape itself is not the mystery. A hexagon can be made. The mystery is that this one has lasted. A hurricane on Earth is finished inside a week. Weather features that resemble the hexagon are normally unstable. Andrew Ingersoll, who worked on Cassini's cameras, put the problem in one sentence. This has been here for decades, he said, and who knows, maybe centuries. Kevin Baines, the same scientist who named the vortex, was blunt about the shape around it. He called it one of the biggest mysteries of the dynamics of Saturn. There is a second problem, and it is stranger than the first. Saturn has a hexagon in the north only. The South Pole has a vortex, and has had one for as long as we have been able to look. It has never had 6 sides, same planet, same rotation, same air. One pole draws a shape, and the other one does not. Cassini's final orbits added something. By measuring the planet's gravity, the team found that the fast winds at the cloud tops are not a thin skin on the outside. Those winds reach roughly 8,000 kilometers down into the planet. The weather is not sitting on top of Saturn. It is part of Saturn. In 2020, a group at Harvard used that result to propose an explanation. A deep, extremely fast jet, squeezed on every side by smaller storms, and forced upward into a fixed shape. It is a proposal. Nobody has been able to test it, and nobody has been back to try. And then, right at the end of the mission, Cassini found the thing that spoils the tidy version of this story. Everything so far happens at cloud level. That is where the weather is on Saturn, and that is where the hexagon was. Hundreds of kilometers higher, there is a different layer called the stratosphere. For most of the mission, Cassini could not read it. The northern stratosphere sat at about minus 158 degrees Celsius. That was around 20 degrees too cold for the instrument to return anything useful. Then summer began to arrive, and the pole warmed up. From 2014, the instrument could finally see up there, and it found a vortex forming high above the clouds. Its edges were hexagonal. Lee Fletcher of the University of Leicester led the study. He said the edges precisely matched the pattern far below. That leaves two possibilities, and both are uncomfortable. Either a hexagon formed twice, on its own, identically, at two completely different heights, or it is one structure, several hundred kilometers tall, standing up through the atmosphere. The difficulty is that a wave like this should not be able to climb at all. The team's own work says it should stay trapped down at the cloud tops. There is one way it might leak upward. A wave can fade with height and still not quite disappear. Whether that is what is happening here, nobody knows. Fletcher said the frustrating part out loud. They only found the second hexagon right at the end of Cassini's life. There was no time left to go back and look properly. While all of this was going on, the hexagon changed color. It was blue-green in 2013. By 2017, it had turned gold. Between November 1995 and August 2009, the pole sat in a long winter night, and the air above it cleared of haze completely, so the blue was clean air. Then sunlight returned and started breaking methane apart in the upper air. The fragments reassembled into a haze, and the haze stayed inside the six sides. That last part matters. Researchers think the hexagon may be holding the haze in, like a fence around the pole. If that is right, the shape is not only a pattern, it is a boundary. On the 15th of September 2017, out of fuel, Cassini was deliberately flown into Saturn. That was to make certain it could never fall on one of Saturn's moons and contaminate it. It burned up in the atmosphere it had spent 13 years photographing. Nothing has been back since. There is no spacecraft at Saturn today, and none on the way. Saturn was due to reach its northern autumn equinox in 2024. The light was going to change again, and the haze with it, and no camera was there to see what the shape did. The hexagon is still there. It is turning right now at about 500 kilometers per hour in the dark, with nobody looking at it. Subscribe for the next investigation. We are staying at Saturn and looking at the rings which are falling into the planet.